Hello, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the News Live and welcome to this English news edition coming up in the next 20 minutes. President Bouteflika conducts a reshuffling diplomatic course plus. National production fair kicks off in Algiers and Premier Sellal announced an increase in investment bank loans. And later on in our news program, Russian jets bombing targets in Syria since the 30th of September kill at least 200 civilians. Hello there, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us. So we start our English news edition with this piece of information. The news sources have just learned that the Social Front Party, or FFS leader, historic leader and founder Hussein Eid Hamid has died at the age of 89. May his soul rest in peace. And now we move on to national politics. The presidency of the Republic, in a communique, said that the President of the Republic, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, today, Wednesday, has conducted a reshuffle in the course of ambassadors in general councils and councils. The reshuffle, which follows those decided by the President of the Republic in other sectors, is part of the reinvigoration of the major state administrations and institutions. The communique added that the nominations will be made public later in accordance with the diplomatic practices in force. The 20th edition of the National Production Fair has officially kicked off today, Wednesday, with the presence of the country's Premier Abdelmalek Sellal. The latter, who inaugurated the fair, stressed the importance that the state gives importance to boosting made in Algeria products based on the price and quality of the products. Lami Ashush for more details.
The 20th edition of the National Production Fair has officially kicked off on Wednesday with the presence of the country's Premier Abdelmalek Sellal. The latter, who inaugurated the fair, stressed the importance that the state gives to boosting made in Algeria products based on the price and quality of the latter. The Premier urged banks to increase investment loans to 30% from the 7% that are currently allocated. This move aims at encouraging national production and urging national companies to multiply their production volume in order to achieve sufficiency and eventually export Algerian goods abroad. This fair, which saw the participation of more than 600 Algerian companies, comes in a crucial time for national economy, with the fall in oil prices on international markets, which makes the diversification of the Algerian economy all the more pivotal at this point in time, and promoting nationally made products proves necessary to liven up Algeria's hydrocarbon-based economy.
The Algerian national airline company is seeking to open up new direct flights towards Africa by partnering with some African companies. This falls with the scope of its new strategy of intercontinental airline transport to make Algeria's new airport, which will be ready in 2016, a continental airline transport hub linking up the old continent. Let me Ashush for more details.
Developing the air transportation market towards Africa has been on the agenda of the Algerian state airline Air Algérie and is now in its first stages. By launching negotiations with some African companies in an attempt to make the Algiers International Airport a continental transport hub from and to the old continent. This will be achieved through what is called an intercontinental transport system, which will pave the way for opening up new direct lines towards several new countries.
We asked Air Algérie to look into a partnership with some African companies to open up new direct lines.
Algeria hopes to also come up with a similar understanding with the United States of America. However, the open sky policy is still a sensitive topic between both countries, always pending on the negotiation tables.
There are talks about the Algeria-US direct line between Algeria and the US. We'll meet with US authorities later on to see when the flight will be scheduled.
Whenever we meet, either here in Washington or in Algiers, This question is raised, and both parties continue to discuss. Ministries concerned, department concerned, and officials concerning are exchanging views on the good sides and the bad sides of the eventuality of having an open sky. But I believe that it is coming. It is coming because that's how the world today works. And we need to go to that. But of course, before doing that, we need also to make our homework and make sure through our legislation that that open sky does not impact also negatively the interests of Algeria.
Livening up commercial activities through new direct flights to the depth of Africa and implementing the Unified Sky policy is a development project for the national airlines in a time when the company allocated an important budget to its airline equipment, right in time for the opening of the new airport that will ensure transportation for 16 million passengers per year.
1 week before the winter school break, the Ministry of National Education made a plan to provide support classes for middle and secondary school students in a step to limit the phenomenon of tutoring, but the latter seems to be hard to be controlled as students prefer studying elsewhere instead of studying with their own teachers. Usama Snusi for more details.
Education Support Week, dedicated by the Ministry of National Education to prepare students for the official exams, did not see the appropriate attendance expected by the ministry, where lots of education institutions at the capital registered absence of students and even teachers who preferred to give tutoring classes.
This is the first day we come to study history and geography, and not all of teachers came.
It's an asset for us as students in order to avoid tutoring. There are students who come and others don't, but for the moment, teachers come. Students prefer to study elsewhere with money instead of studying with their own teachers who know their weaknesses for free.
The sensitizing campaign held by the Education Directorate in the last week before the break did not give positive results, and some education observers think that the main reason is lack of pedagogic trust between students and their teachers.
These sessions were organized after agreeing with students who wanted to study and volunteer teachers, in addition to the teachers who were due to follow through their students' performance. 52,687 students benefited from the supporting session in middle school, and 2,916 high schools and 1,300 teachers were dedicated for this session. The administration will give these teachers some incentives in return of their efforts.
Most of the reports delivered to the Minister of National Education concerning the support sessions organized by the government in order to limit the phenomenon of tutoring were positive, but the reality has proved that this phenomenon is impossible to control.
Moving on to world news, Russian jets bombing targets in Syria since the 30th of September have hit homes, mosques and even medical facilities, killing at least 200 civilians in its report today, Wednesday. The Human Rights Agency accused Russia of using cluster munitions that dropped several bombs over a large area, which remained unexploded for several days, thus posing a grave threat to civilians. Iraq sent battalions of reinforcements today, Wednesday, to secure neighborhoods in Ramadi recaptured from the so-called Islamic State, as soldiers continued an offensive for a second day to try to take full control of the city. The reinforcements, including Sunni Muslim tribal fighters trained by the United States, were intended to allow the first wave of troops to continue pushing toward a government complex in the center of Ramadi held by the fighters for the so-called Islamic State. Iraqi military officials have said the offensive will take days, with soldiers facing stiff resistance from the insurgents and an urban landscape laden with hidden explosives. Afghan government forces have lost control of the center of the town of Sangin in Helmand province after days of fierce fighting. Taliban control the local government building and police station. The Taliban say their fighters have seized the entire district. However, the Afghan Defense Ministry said that fighting was continuing and their reinforcements had been sent to the area. It is worth mentioning that Sangin was a major focus of NATO's involvement in Afghanistan. Authorities in Turkey are investigating an overnight explosion at Istanbul's second-largest airport, which killed one person and highlighted potential security risks as the country fights a prolonged war against Kurdish insurgents and the so-called Islamic State. The airline said a person cleaning a plane nearby was killed in the incident. A second member of the cleaning staff was injured in the incident and taken to a hospital. We're back to Algeria now, and after a long absence due to the construction works, the 5th of July Stadium opened its doors again for this capital derby, MC Algiers and USM Algiers, as they played yesterday a delayed game from the 11th day of the championship in a game that entered with a goalless draw in front of 65,000 supporters from both teams. Usama Snoussi.
5 July Olympic Stadium witnessed yesterday the championship most fascinating and important game between city rivals MC Algiers and USM Algiers, who battled for the title, though USM AC 13 points ahead of MCA in the top of the table. The game saw the turnover of 65,000 supporters, and the latter made magnificent mosaic on the stands and did not stop roaring for the teams who gave humble performance and were not up to the level that was expected by the fans, though the pitch was in its best conditions.
Today, the supporters of both clubs gave the example of loyal fans. We can give a good image to football here in Algeria, and we could see that through the considerable turnout of fans. The fans were amazing in the stands, but the performance on the pitch was not up to the level, as both teams tried to satisfy that. If you think about it, they're 10 points ahead of us, so it's obvious that they played comfortably. As for us, if we had a lead with 10 points, we could have played better in the second half. If we lost today, that would be 13 points ahead, so it's better to stay at 10 points. We wanted to win this game today because they are competitors, but I think today's game was good, and what was most interesting is the madness of our fans, because they're fabulous, and I want to thank them for their support today. We deserve to win, but rather tie than lose, because we're in the top of the table with 10 points ahead, and now we still have the game against USM Leader, where we must clinch a 3 points to play comfortably in the second leg phase.
The capital derby was not up to the expectations of the fans who filled the stands to end up watching a clumsy performance from both teams, in a game that didn't see any attempts except for Bamousa's free kick which hit the post. And the locomotive of MC Algiers did not take advantage of USM Algiers' unstable defense in the beginning of the first half, when neither Goumi nor Merzougi managed to score against goalkeeper Mansouri, who made magnificent saves. The game ended with a goalless draw amid the roaring of the fabulous fans.
During winter holidays, many Algerian families prefer to enjoy it by spending their time in green spaces like the forest Bouchaoui, west of the capital Algiers. The latter turned into a destination for children and their parents. Hints Minaras.
In a spring atmosphere witnessed in the four corners of the country, coinciding with winter school break, Algerian families take the opportunity to go out and enjoy outdoors activities, seeking refuge in nature. The destination this time, Bouchaoui Forest.
The weather is nice. We brought the kids to have some fun since they're on a break, and there aren't many places out here, so this is a perfect opportunity.
I brought the kids to enjoy natural views, horse rides and play as well. There is a variety in the playing field.
Kids are enjoying their time to the fullest, playing, laughing and having fun, given the different available activities and most important of all, having a time to remember.
We came here since we're on holiday, waiting for the opportunity to come and have fun playing. The horses, many cars. I played football with my sister.
There's a variety of games. It's awesome. I made many friends and I'm happy.
Algerian families can certainly rejoice, having a variety of destinations and activities to do all along these holidays. The weekend in particular, just in time for the Mawlid.
And finally, celebrating Mawlid, the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the Algerian society is an opportunity to revive the Algerian habits and traditions, notably circumcision. In addition to other celebrations, many associations are keen on holding. Hence, Minaras again.
In a candle-lit atmosphere, Algerian families celebrate the Mawlid, the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in their own special and religious way, reviving habits, traditions, and the authenticity, and so passing them on for future generations.
We are celebrating the Mawlid here. We host a party every year. We hold on to our traditions. We circumcise boys, put henna and other things as well.
Boys' circumcision amongst friends and family is one of many traditions Algerian families insist on celebrating on the eve of Mawlid.
I brought my son today on the occasion of Mawlid to get him circumcised. We put henna, light sparkling sticks, prepare traditional tamina. For dinner, we prepare shakshuka. On Mawlid, we prepare tamina, lit candles. It's after all a religious celebration. We're happy for the coming of such occasion, following in our ancestors' footsteps.
No matter how Mawlid is celebrated through the country's different regions, it always succeeds to strengthen family bonds, bringing together all the Algerian society.
And we wrap up our main English news edition with a reminder of our main top stories. President Bouteflika conducts a reshuffle in diplomatic calls. National Production Fair kicks off in Algiers and Premier Sellal announces an increase in investment bank loans. Russian jets bombing targets in Syria since the 30th of September kill at least 200 civilians. The end of our English news edition. The news continue on Z News channel. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.